As college football fans, we all know about North Dakota State football and how they're an FCS powerhouse, but outside of Carson Wentz, I'd be willing to bet that most of you guys can't even name another North Dakota State player in the NFL. If you can though, please be sure to let me know in the comment section. Trey Lance will be a redshirt sophomore this upcoming fall, and he's receiving tons of hype after becoming the first freshman in FCS football history to win the Peyton Award, and also became the FCS Football Player of the Year. He also threw for 28 touchdowns and no interceptions in his first year as a starter, and some people wonder how on earth this kid slid through the cracks. If you can't believe that, you won't believe how crazy his journey is and how high he's projected to go in some mock draft. What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about Trey Lance, his journey, and we're going to talk about whether he will be a boom or a bust in the 2021 NFL Draft. So if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe if you love college football. Give the video a like if you want to support what I'm doing here on YouTube. Suggest what player or topic I should do next, and turn on post notifications so you never miss when I upload. Now let's go ahead and get started and talk about Trey Lance. Let's back it up in time, more specifically to the year 2000, when Trey was born in the town of Marshall, Minnesota. He was born an athlete, as his father was a football star at Southwest Minnesota State, and he apparently always had a ball in his hands. Trey would go on to become a three-sport athlete once he got to Marshall High School, and he was a star at all three of them. He became an all-conference basketball player, but that's not what we're going to focus on. In football, Trey started on both sides of the ball, and on offense he was the quarterback while he played safety on defense. He quickly became a local legend, and by the time his senior year rolled around, he was starting to get recruited to play FBS level football. Despite receiving some high major interest, Lance and his father agreed that bigger was not always better. After receiving offers from schools such as Western Michigan, Northern Illinois, and Air Force, Trey put his word to the test as he decided to commit to North Dakota State. He ended up choosing FCS over FBS level football, but he did have good reason for it. North Dakota State was a team that consistently won national titles and sent players and coaches to the next level in the game of football. The Bison had sent their head coach Chris Kleiman to Kansas State, and quarterbacks Carson Wentz and Easton Stick to the NFL. As a recruit, Trey was listed as an athlete and a three-star recruit. When he committed, he became the highest ranked recruit in program history and was expected to make a huge impact once he put on a Bison uniform. Going into Lance's freshman season, he decided to redshirt and get bigger and better. The Bison were under fifth-year head coach Chris Kleiman, and they were led by senior quarterback Easton Stick. They began the season ranked number 1 in the country and proceeded to stay number 1 the whole season, go undefeated, and win their 6th national title in 7 years. After the season, Kleiman left to take the head coaching job at Kansas State, and Easton Stick was drafted in the 5th round by the Los Angeles Chargers. Going into his redshirt freshman season, Lance was named the starter, and he had huge shoes to fill. In his first ever collegiate start, Trey proved he was the real deal and put the college football world on notice. In the season opener against Butler, Lance completed 10 of 11 passes for 185 yards and 4 touchdowns, but it doesn't end there. He also carried the ball 116 times and had 2 scores on the ground. Trey broke almost every record imaginable and already looked like he could become the most versatile quarterback in school history. Once again, the Bison began the season ranked number 1 and won their first 7 games. Their 8th game was against number 3 South Dakota State, and it was actually so huge that College Game Day was there to cover it. The game was close, but Trey made a name for himself, and the Bison won in a thriller. From there, they went all the way to the FCS championship game, where they survived a close contest with number 2 James Madison and would win another national title. Trey wasn't spectacular every game, but he was the FCS Player of the Year and became the first freshman to ever win the Peyton Award. He threw for 2,786 yards, 28 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He also ran the ball for 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns, while averaging over 6 yards per carry. The hype was unreal, and he was seen as the 3rd best quarterback in the draft going into the 2020 college football season, behind Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. As we know though, North Dakota State was supposed to play Oregon in the offseason and a full FCS schedule, but Trey only got to play in 1 game in 2020, and it was against Central Arkansas. He passed for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns, while also having 143 yards rushing and 2 more touchdowns on the ground. He got 1 game to prove himself, and now let's go ahead and turn it over to Jackson to talk about why everyone wants Trey Lance on their team, and is he honestly worth all the NFL hype around him?
Thank you, Scott. So now that we know who Trey Lance is, let's go over what we think he's going to do in the NFL. Is he a boom or is he a bust? And over the past week, I watched every single throw that Trey Lance threw in college and saw every run in order to answer this question. And my main takeaways are it's a very layered question. I think Trey Lance can be one of, if not the quarterback in in this entire draft class. But to me, he isn't a first round pick, maybe late first, but to me, he's only the 5th most NFL ready quarterback on my list. So why I think he can be a great NFL quarterback for a couple of reasons. One, he's the best athlete and runner in this draft class, and that's saying a lot when Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson are included in this. He's 6'4", 227 pounds, has vision like a running back, can make DBs miss, and can challenge linebackers in the hole. He can run read options, designed runs, extend plays, and is always a threat to take off. And number 2, seeing his film, especially at his pro day, we can see that he has a rocket for an arm. His mechanics are very sound and the ball absolutely explodes off his hand. He can make every single throw that a quarterback needs to. Deep outs, deep comebacks, 20-yard ins on a rope, and 70-yard posts. And the way he throws it makes me think he can throw in any sort of weather condition, even though he played most of his games in a dome when they were at home. So as far as it comes from a raw prospect perspective, he's as good as they come. That being said, the only way I see him having early success in the league is not starting right away and maybe taking a full year or 2 to sit behind a quarterback and learn the game. The first thing that worries me is he hasn't played much football, and the games he has played are very non-developmental for the NFL. Even though North Dakota State has a pro-style offense, which he does have the advantage of being under center and making protection calls, North Dakota State was a run-heavy offense, and since Trey Lance only had 1 full season and 1 game this year, that just isn't a lot of time. In multiple games, he would throw the ball less than 20 times, which is so abnormal for a college offense in 2021. This goes as far as he had a game where he only threw the ball 9 times, and another game where he threw the ball 10 times. Teams are throwing well more than that in a quarter in today's game. And since NDSU runs the ball so effectively, a lot of his receivers will be able to scheme open off of play action. And on plays like these, it's only 1 read on the field and you just run wide open. Almost anyone can make that throw. That being said, in his 1 game in 2020 against Central Arkansas, there was a few plays like this and he just didn't convert. He had receivers wide open and flat out missed them. This goes unnoticed because his team is such a powerhouse in Division I AA that they were able to make a play on the same drive and score anyways. But in the NFL, these plays are few and far between, and you need to capitalize on them because it'll be more than likely the difference between winning and losing. We haven't really seen him take the offense on his shoulders, throwing the ball anyways, carve up a defense like quarterbacks in the NFL need to today. Even with the running talent of Lamar Jackson, which nobody else has, winning playoff games comes down to throwing the ball, and I really don't see that changing in the NFL anytime soon. This isn't me hating on quarterbacks who play for smaller schools either. I was super high on Josh Allen out of Wyoming, and I'm even more high on Zach Wilson out of BYU. You can just see what throws they're able to make regardless of the competition, and if the opposing team's defense is weaker at a smaller school, well, so are your receivers, so it evens out more than you think. So where does this leave us with Trey Lance in the draft? He needs the chance to grow as a quarterback, sit a full year, maybe 2, and get used to throwing the ball often and consistently. If he fails in the NFL, I think it would be no fault of his own, and way more on team's management not knowing who he is as a player. He would be a bust if he gets taken by the Jets, the Panthers, or really any team who needs a quarterback now. Those teams need to take Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, quarterbacks who are just ready to take the field tomorrow. So where I see him a perfect place for him going is somewhere like Pittsburgh or maybe even the Buccaneers. Teams that have their quarterback for the short-term future where he'd be able to sit and learn from a veteran QB and learn how to make reads, go through multiple progressions quickly, or teams that just have a good offensive line and a lot of talent around them. His situation reminds me a lot of Bryce Young. Bryce was a great quarterback prospect, and I think Trey Lance is a great deal better with a higher ceiling, but Bryce had no shot in the league if he played this year. He's too raw and just needs some grooming. But after Aaron Rodgers retires or moves on, I think Green Bay fans will be thrilled with the quarterback of the future. I love Trey Lance as a prospect. He takes care of the football, has incredible running ability, even though I hope he learns how to slide. He has a cannon for an arm and will be a great pickup for any team that can use their pick for the future. Thank you so much for having me on the channel, Scott. This was a ton of fun. Make sure to subscribe to Scott's channel if you haven't already. You can get consistent and great college football content like this every single day.
Well, I appreciate you guys checking in on today's video, so be sure to subscribe to Jackson's channel if you have not already, and let me know if you think Trey Lance will be a boom or a bust. I'd also love to know what other player or topic I should take a look at next. Be sure to give the video a like if you want to support this video so more people can see it. Subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos on the end screen, including my video about Zach Wilson and whether he will be a boom or a bust. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.